It's Chris with you here again today. And tonight I wanted to talk about more on dysfunctional families and narcissism and the roles that we play inside of them. Sometimes it's hard getting out of homes or away from people that tend to draw you back in, either if it's financially giving you everything that you want and you need, such as cars, money, homes, etc. Whether it's your parents or maybe a woman or a man that you're involved with, whatever it may be, where they can keep you stuck and coming back for more. And usually, what that is a promise of, well, and maybe an apology of maybe I'm sorry that I did that, or maybe they've cut you off financially during when you're coming back, and cutting things off to where they need to be in control and stay in control of your decisions, or just a dependency that you can't stop yourself from rejoining again and again. And yes, I am smoking tonight. I'm a little stressed. I don't smoke very often, and it's not a very good habit. I've been smoking now on and off in my life for many, many years, and basically have become allergic to smoke. But sometimes when I'm really stressed, I'm going through another move yet again. I don't know how many times I've moved already, but can cause a lot of stress in my life. Being stuck back in a place again, kind of falling behind where I have to deal with my narc parents again, while I'm still in the process of going through coaching school, and again having the third career for my life. Um, it can be a harrowing journey, although an exciting one, because as you are learning recovery from maybe narc families, narc relationships, or addiction, and you're hitting rock bottom again, you have to think and give yourself forgiveness and acceptance once more, and not be too hard on yourself when you see you're taking these huge recovery steps and you've done really good for quite a long time, and you've studied and researched and been through self-help groups and books and things and therapy and whatnot, and maybe you've started a new career or thinking about it, or whatever the case may be. If you're just leaving an abusive relationship and you do have to go back home for a while, whatever the case may be, even if it is addiction again that has got you back down with nothing, um, you have to look at it in a more positive way, as it is just another step in your growth, where I'll explain myself, and where I find myself at right now is to where I'm at the end of and finally able to pay off my school debt, by once again and moving back home for a while, and taking this time to work and find just part time and find and get started on my new career. Um, can be a real journey when you're still kind of living or working or being around narcissistic people. I'm very happy with the well, very sad in the state that we are in right now of the COVID virus epidemic, and the money that it has brought to each family. Hopefully, where people have enough to get their food and pay their bills. And for me, it has benefited, in order for me to finally pay off my school debt and celebrate that, even unto myself, um, where you're engaging in more celebrations, healthier celebrations with maybe just food instead of drugs, maybe more healthy foods, um, and just delving into your favorites and just celebrating the fact that maybe you have paid off your debts today, or you finally quit using the really hard stuff, whether it's alcohol or drugs, and or smoking or whatever that may be. You finally got away from that old relationship and you're just saving now, financially, to begin again. Even if you might have to take out a loan from someone, just make sure that you've watched videos about financial narcissist abuse. I know that I thought I was finally crashing and burning by moving back home. And another one of my states is that I've lost my license for a while, just with dealing with my narcissistic parents in the past, how they've joined my business and how it's kind of um, my narc father has been helping me with this and that through this, and me kind of secretly going through school, although they know that I am, which can cause even more havoc from them as they don't like you to be more successful or be better than them. It can cause a lot of jealousy and just more hatred and rampage and more destructive tones toward us. Um, but as I've researched all this narc stuff and can look at it now, and instead of reacting in a really upset way towards them, I can quietly just understand now their behaviors and how to react more, and maybe using some gray rock techniques, expressionless, kind of ignore them a little bit and not give them complete attention and help that I used to, less and less, by maybe not being um, totally available to them 24/7 for everything that they want and need, and trusting what's best for me. Um, I know the other day I asked my dad again for what he would be interested in helping me get another car loan, since my car took a dump, and how it was just a total narc reaction there, where as I'm 44 years old now last month, he was talking to me like I was a 16-year-old girl and saying that he didn't think I was responsible enough to make car payments. And I kind of laugh about it because it's just ridiculous. And I kind of just stood up for myself, used some boundaries, and said, and kind of assertiveness, and said, "Well, do you know how that makes me feel when you say that?" I said, "That really hurts my feelings when you say things like that, and can you please not?" And he immediately apologized, and we just kept on going. I just didn't talk anymore about it. And I did try to tell him how old I was and that I have had steady jobs my entire life since I was at a young age. Like under 16, I was working in their business. And because they can really work you too if they have that advantage and take that money advantage from you to boost themselves in any way, in an arts and crafts business that I had grown up in. So instead of reacting like I used to in the past and just calling him all kinds of names and what a dirty dog he was, by saying something like that towards me and getting really offended and crying or lashing out, even like more violently or aggressively, which always causes that back on myself. which karma does in any way, good or bad. What you give out, you get in return, kind of a thing. Although I'm learning that punishment is not the way to go for them to punish or to me punish as well back. When they do put that blame, shame, guilt, and punishment on another person for either being an addict or whatever it is that they can get a hold of that they don't think is right in their eyes, and that's usually um, what they want to take advantage of from you. So, the car ride was just kind of quiet the rest of the way because I have to depend on them to drive me now. And I did ask my mother today, kind of how he had hurt me with things he was saying on the last car ride we had together, and if she would take me around more. And immediately she wants to know why, what, when, and how that happened and what it was about. And I just didn't give her any news about it because the more info they get from you, the more they can use it against you later, take advantage of later. Um, it's painful to know this stuff, and it's painful to see it happening again if it's reoccurring. But also with these new techniques that I am learning, and thank God, my lucky stars, that this money has fallen right now for my advantage and just put my focus and energy more on towards school an education where I can finally get from up from under maybe under more underpaying jobs and stuff like I've had in the past. And jobs that I couldn't depend on to get all my bills paid, just a reliable paycheck every week. Because the type of job I have, again, the manipulation rules over it. And where somebody doesn't want to pay what they should, where gas is concerned with my taxi work, and so on and so forth. If you've listened to any of my past videos, and understand that. So, this is the first video I think I've given around midnight, so hopefully I'm not too slow on what I'm saying here. And back again, just saying that to look more of the positives, and even if you do get set back and you go forth and you know, do all these new things and create all these new things and thoughts and things, positive thoughts. And then when we can might have to fall back again into a place we might not like for a while, but then just gain a momentum again about paying off those debts or whatever you need to in order to go forth, whether like in case of like having bad credit and needing a cosigner, maybe paying off and working towards that with maybe a credit adjuster or something, and give money towards that every month until you can begin to pay for your own things and you don't have to depend on anybody else for it, especially if who you're depending on is not so reliable. I think even sometimes narcissists can learn from us, especially as more empathetic people tend to be more successful in things. And a lot of times, like that partner might follow you into your businesses and things and just take over and maybe lose a lot instead of gain more in whatever that is. Um, I've kind of had that happen to myself. And even if they do take a lot from you in the end, you can start making that nest, as I am right now, and build up something else, maybe that they cannot join into. And they have to make their own way for themselves. And maybe they can see from a distance, and we could still be a good role model for them, even if it's our own children for that matter, that might be more narcissistic today or not. with the parenting from that ex-narc that you were with, we can still become better role models for them, whether it's getting off the drugs or alcohol, or whether it's getting away from a toxic person or job or so forth. I think this is really important to create these nest eggs where we can start saving enough for maybe a house one day of your own, and not get that old negative thinking out of your head from the past that you have to depend on somebody else and wait for that man or woman to come along where they're going to have a house or you're going to build a house together, and then you get older and you just start realizing that, well, I really don't care anymore. I'm kind of to that point, um, that just to get the things that make me happy and comfortable and safe and reliable and stable in my life, when we can really kind of come off of depending on whoever it was, or even if it's a job that is doing that you're in, or still planning to leave. So I just kind of wanted to give this tidbit of information out, and how I am proud of myself tonight for finally being off to pay off some of those debts and get ahead and start creating that dream nest, where I'm kind of falling out of the woe is me victim. It's always going to be like this. When you do start putting single little actions in it every day, where we can work up that safe nest, and I will call it my dream nest, to where you're not just living and doing anymore every day, or just going to that mundane job every day, but where you can really start maybe looking towards the things that you love to do instead, and how you can incorporate that into your life, whether it's for a job or just retiring, and or just new in life and just creating something that you really want and desire instead, to where you're more happy and content with yourself, and start letting go of those old negative beliefs that we cannot do it, like where they tied this elephant up to a chain since it was a baby, and how even when they break it from that chain, that elephant grows up and it still thinks it's on that chain and it can't go anywhere. That's what we as childhood grew up with, that helplessness, that we cannot ever leave or be better or do anything better. So it's finally good to start conquering that. It can be a hard one, but the more that we live and we learn and do this recovery stuff, the better that we will be in the end. So thanks for listening today, and I hope you have a great night. Peace.